Hello YouTube, we are back again now to talk about the 5 things I love about the Ranger Raptor. Alright, in the last video I had the mildly harsh on Ford about some of the choices they made with the Ranger Raptor, but there's far more things I love about this truck than I hate. So I'm going to go over my top 5 things I love about this truck and what made me decide to get this over some of the other trucks. If you've seen my previous video, link down below, of the Toyota versus ZR2 versus the Ranger Raptor, you won't be surprised by some of these, but I want to go a little bit more in detail, specifically of the Ranger Raptor features that I love. So let's talk about my favorite thing about this truck, and it's the powertrain. And I know we have the bonnet up, but there's not much to look at in here, honestly. It's not a pretty looking engine, but the powertrain itself is by far the best powertrain in the mid-size truck segment. This is a twin turbo V6, the same V6 that is in the Bronco Raptor and in the Ford Explorer ST. It puts out 415 horsepower, 460 foot-pound torque. I probably have that wrong. I have the tune on it, which boosts that up to like 450 horsepower and over 500 foot-pound torque, which puts it in F-150 Raptor territory, the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6. This thing hauls ass. It is such a good powertrain. The EcoBoost high output engines that Ford is putting in these trucks are phenomenal. I have no complaints about the drivetrain. The transmission isn't even that bad, the 10-speed transmission. Before tune, it did kind of hunt gear sometimes when you're trying to rev it up. It still doesn't like to kick down when it needs to sometimes, but after the tune, it's phenomenal. This truck feels like a rally car. When you're on a back dirt road where you have room to see, where you can really haul ass and drift around corners, this thing's a sports car. It's a big rally car, and I love it. Nothing in the mid-size segment can touch this. This is by far this truck's best feature. All right, so this one, hello Haas. I know, we're best friends. All right, well, I guess Haas is here to stay. He's gonna help us show my second favorite feature of the Ranger Raptor, which is kind of hard to see because there's a big tire in the way, but it is the suspension setup on this truck that comes stock. It's the Fox live valve shocks, and they are phenomenal. They are the best shocks that come on any of the mid-size trucks. They do such a good job of eating dips, eating bumps. Sir. Ugh. All right, I had to go put Haas in timeout for a second. The live valve shocks are phenomenal. They are much better than the TRD Pro shocks, and which are Fox shocks, but they're not live valve adjustable. So he's back. They're not live valves. You have to manually adjust them, from my understanding. And the ZR2 are Multimatic, which are they're okay, but they're nowhere close to the live valve shocks. So if you don't know what live valve is, when you're going on terrain, there's a monitoring system that actively monitors the shocks to where they need to be at in the travel. If they need to dampen more, if they need to firm up more, if they need to adjust for the terrain you're on. This also helps with the different modes, the different modes that you have in the truck, the sport mode, off-road mode. It all adjusts how these shocks act. It's almost like you have 5 different sets of shocks at all times and how they adjust and how they firm up and stiffen. This is the second strongest feature that this truck comes with. These shocks alone would probably run you $4,000 all the way around, probably $5,000 all the way around, but they come stock on the truck and they're absolutely phenomenal. All right, feature number 3 that I love about this truck, the size. Size does matter. In this case, the smaller size, which is not typically what you hear, but it's what I like about this truck. The F-150 Raptor, I've owned 3 of them. They're too damn big, honestly. Roast me in the comments if you want to. Raptor bros, TRX bros. Full-size trucks are ridiculous nowadays. They are so big. They are gigantic. They don't fit in the parking lots. They barely fit on the highway anymore. And when you're out here in Colorado, on Colorado trails, you're kind of an ass with a full-size truck sometimes. I felt that way off-roading in my F-150 Raptor. Some of these trails you just don't need to go on, right? Like go on RV roads and stuff like that. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh, but it's just, you take up too much room in a full-size truck. This mid-size truck is a perfect size, and it's wide enough to where it still kind of has, you know, the bulging hips, I guess you could say, on the truck to give it that aggressive look, to give it that cool, like, off-road Baja look. But you still fit on trails really well. You're not enormous on a shelf road. You're not blocking traffic both ways trying to, like, 15-point turn to get through stuff. It's the right size for an off-road truck. Now, if you're out bombing Baja deserts, as these trucks are actually made to be doing, if you're out doing that, a bigger truck probably makes more sense. You're out in open space, it has a longer wheelbase, you're hitting dips and dips and bumps and all that stuff. But if you're going to do off-roading, in terms of like slow off-roading, shelf roads, mid-size trucks are the way to go. And the Ranger Raptor is a much preferable size to the rest of the Ranger lineup, or the Raptor lineup. And I would say this is even a better size than the Bronco Raptor. So I know this sounds crazy. The Bronco Raptor is shorter, but the Bronco Raptor, if you do the stats, it is as wide as an H1 Hummer, like Arnold Schwarzenegger old H1 Hummer, like military Humvee. It is that wide. It is gigantic. And you have the same problem off-road. It's just, it's so freaking wide that it's hard to get around some things. It's some things you can't get through because of the wheelbase, or the wheel width, because like rocks or something hard that you can't just go over easily, you're going to get stuck. So if you're going to do off-roading, if you're in Colorado, if you're in Utah, if you're some of these areas that have tighter trail systems, I suggest going mid-size over full-size. The third thing I love about the Ranger Raptor, I'm a big guy, not height-wise. Width-wise, pretty big fella. So I'm 6 foot, 250. I fit in this truck very well. I know in the last video, in the 5 things I hate about the Ranger Raptor, I kind of, hated on the seats. They fit me. They're fine size-wise, but the interior itself, I don't feel cramped in here. I don't feel like a fat guy in a little coat, you know what I mean? I feel like this is the right size interior. There's enough space for passengers in the back. It's more than the TRD Pro, for sure, Toyota. I don't feel like I'm cramped in here. The Bronco Raptor, I felt a little cramped when I owned it. But the Ranger space in here is well put together in terms of spacing. Plenty of leg room. I feel like the seating position is good. You can bend your knees. Back space, fine for passengers. But I just don't feel claustrophobic in here. I feel like I can see everything really well. I feel like the steering wheel and just the overall sense of space is really good in the truck. And Ford's done a really good job of not making a smaller truck feel small. It still feels very big in here, and I really do appreciate that. This is a feature I really love about this truck. And if you're a bigger guy like me, don't worry, you will fit and you will be comfortable. All right, and the last and final point I'd like to make about this truck that I love, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but let me explain, is the price of this truck. Fully loaded, it's the only way it comes. Fully loaded, this thing is $58,000. Hold on. I know that's a lot of money for a truck. I know it's a ton. It feels like just 2 years ago you could get a fully loaded mid-sized truck for $40,000. Peace. Agreed. $60,000 is a lot for this truck. My first Gen 2 F-150 Raptor fully loaded was $60,000 back in 2018. I get it. Past that, let's look at the rest of the mid-size segment. The Colorado ZR2 Bison Edition, which I would say is probably more in fighting room with this, and the TRD Pro are like $65,000. This is almost $10,000 less. Let's be fair. It's like $7,000, $8,000 less. This is the best truck out of all of them, and it's not the most expensive. Arguably, it's the cheapest, with the best powertrain, the best performance. A lot of the features I prefer on this truck. I won't go into that in detail to keep this video kind of short. You can look at the ZR2 versus Tacoma, or ZR2 versus Tacoma versus Ranger Raptor video that I have down below. I think this is the hands down best truck out of the midsize segment, and it's not the most expensive. Ford has kind of gotten out of control with their pricing. Let's be real. The F-150 Raptor is $90,000 now. The Bronco Raptor is like $100,000 now. What are we talking about? This is reasonable in comparison, but this is reasonable in the midsize segment at the rest of the competition. I think Ford's done a good job of keeping costs down. Some of the things that they've cut out are kind of interesting, but Ford, whatever you're doing to keep that price range around $60,000, you're doing a good job. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this video today. Just to reiterate, I think this is the best truck in the midsize market. The overall package is phenomenal. I'm so happy Ford brought the Ranger Raptor to the United States. I think there is an entire segment that got their crap rocked when they launched this at the price range that they did with all the capability that it has. I'm curious to see what they do next. Like in one of my previous videos, there's rumors that there's going to be a Ranger Raptor R or some kind of ZR2 Bison competitor. Does that mean they put a V8 in it? Probably not, but we can dream. But it likely means that they're going to put stock 35s on it, which was one of my gripes in my 5 Things I Hate video, link down below. But it's interesting to see what Ford does. I think they're selling these well enough. They've had a good enough reception that they're going to keep building these things and to build out that Raptor lineup. I'm curious to see if they do another variant of the Raptor. If they do, your boy's probably going to buy it because he can't stop himself. But I think this is the best overall truck in the mid-size segment. I would say it's arguably maybe the best truck on the market. I know Raptor R is super sick, but it's really impractical. In terms of just craziness, super sick truck. The RHO seems sick, haven't driven it. But overall usability, functionality, and performance, price, all that stuff rolled up into one. It's kind of hard to beat the Ranger Raptor right now. I'm not going to lie. Clearly biased, but I love this thing. That's going to do it for the video. If you have any other questions, please ask me in the comments below. I try to do a good job of commenting on everyone's comments to me and replying to everyone and giving them my true insights. This channel, I'm trying to be genuine. I'm not trying to bullshit you. I'm not trying to sell you stuff the best I can. I know I do a lot of videos on different products, but I'm really trying to be honest about the things I buy, things I like about things I don't like about things, because there's not a lot of content out there for the Ranger Raptor. So I want to help out the community and build out this community of Ranger Raptor owners. So please like and subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. We're going to keep these things going, and love y'all. All right. Peace out.